There's a truth no one has ever told you. The harder you try to control life, the more you lose what matters most. Your career, your relationships, your opportunities, everything starts slipping away, and you don't understand why. You work tirelessly, sacrificing your time, your energy, and your peace of mind, yet success still feels out of reach. You love someone deeply, pouring your heart into them, hoping they'll notice your devotion, but instead of getting closer, they seem to pull away. You push yourself to grow, to improve, to make things happen, but no matter how much effort you put in, nothing seems to change. Why does this happen? Could it be that we've been taught the wrong way to achieve success, happiness, and love? What if the secret isn't about controlling more but about controlling less? Think about it. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you simply open your hand and relax, the sand remains. This is exactly how life works. The more desperately you try to hold on to something, the more resistance you create. Success, love, happiness, they are things you chase. They are things you align with. And the key to that alignment isn't force, it's surrender. Now, before you dismiss this as some vague spiritual advice, ask yourself, have you ever noticed that the most successful, peaceful, and magnetic people in the world are never in a rush? They don't beg for love. They don't desperately chase money. They don't force things to happen. Instead, they move through life with a quiet confidence, an effortless ease, a deep trust. And as a result, everything they need naturally comes to them. This isn't luck. This isn't privilege. This is a mindset, a way of being rooted in ancient wisdom that has been practiced for thousands of years. The Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, it comes from attachment to how we think things should be. We don't suffer because we lack. We suffer because we believe we lack. We don't struggle because life is difficult. We struggle because we resist what is. The moment you understand this, life begins to shift. You stop fighting against the current, you learn to flow with it. You stop acting out of fear and desperation, you start acting from peace and wisdom. You stop trying to control every outcome, you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And that is exactly what we're going to uncover today. By the end of this video, you will understand why clinging pushes away what you desire, why letting go allows things to come effortlessly, and how shifting your mindset can transform the way you attract success, love, and happiness. But here's the most important part: stay until the end, because the final piece of wisdom will completely change the way you see life. Once you grasp this, everything will shift. Are you ready? Let's begin. 1. Let go of attachment to outcomes. We grow up believing that to get what we want, we must try our hardest, control everything, and hold on tightly without letting go. We make meticulous plans, paint ideal scenarios, and convince ourselves that if we follow every step correctly, life will unfold exactly as we desire. But what happens then? You spend your youth chasing a career you believe will bring you happiness, only to realize you're exhausted and empty. You love someone with all your heart, but the more you try to hold on, the more distant they become. You pin all your hopes on a single goal, and when you don't achieve it, it feels like your whole world is falling apart. And that's when you start to ask yourself, Why does everything seem to slip further away the harder I try? The answer lies in attachment. Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from life itself but from our attachment to how we want life to be. When you cling to something, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a dream, you unknowingly create fear. You fear losing it. You fear not achieving it. You fear that if things don't go your way, you won't be happy. And that very fear is what makes you suffer. Imagine standing by a river, holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more the sand slips through your fingers. But when you gently open your palm, the sand remains. That is how life works. There is a Buddhist story about a man who built a raft to cross a dangerous river. The raft helped him get through the treacherous waters, but when he reached the other side, instead of leaving it behind, he carried it on his back and continued his journey. He was so attached to the raft, something that had once been useful, that he didn't realize it had now become a burden. We do the same thing in life. We cling to relationships that no longer serve us. We hold on to old dreams, even when we've changed. We try to control things beyond our reach, only to face disappointment. But the truth is, you don't have to hold on to everything. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Letting go means trusting. Trusting that what is meant for you will always find you. Trusting that you don't have to control everything to be happy. Trusting that life moves in its own way and that way might be better than anything you ever imagined. So how do you let go? First, shift your focus from outcomes to the present. When you tie your happiness to a future result, you create stress. But when you focus on what you can do right now, you find freedom. Second, identify your fears. Behind every attachment is a fear of loneliness, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. But have you ever noticed that what you fear often never happens? And even if it does, you always find a way through it. And finally, practice surrender. This doesn't mean you stop trying, it means you do your best but don't force an outcome. Like planting a seed, you water it, you nurture it, but you can't make it grow instantly. You trust that nature has its rhythm. And so does life. The greatest paradox of letting go is that when you loosen your grip, you actually gain more. When you stop obsessing over a job, a new opportunity arises. When you no longer desperately seek love, the right person finds you. When you trust that you are already whole, life brings you abundance beyond your imagination. So, I want you to take a deep breath and ask yourself, what are you holding on to too tightly? What is draining your energy? And more importantly, are you ready to put it down? Because the moment you do, you'll realize something profound. You never needed to carry it in the first place. To master your mindset. The world doesn't change, but the way you see it changes everything. Two people can stand in the same place, face the same challenges, yet live in completely different worlds, one trapped in anxiety, scarcity, and fear, while the other sees opportunity, solutions, and abundance. The only difference? Their mindset. We've been taught that our external circumstances determine our happiness. If we have more money, we'll feel secure. If we find the right person, we'll feel whole. If we achieve our goals, we'll finally feel at peace. But the truth is, it's not life that shapes your experience, it's how you think about it. The Buddha said, "What you think, you become." This isn't just a nice quote, it's a universal law. Your thoughts are the seeds from which your reality grows. When you plant thoughts of fear, doubt, and lack, you cultivate a life of stress and dissatisfaction. But when you plant thoughts of gratitude, trust, and abundance, you create a reality filled with peace and prosperity. Rachel learned this lesson the hard way. She always felt like she never had enough. No matter how much money she made, she was constantly worried about bills, emergencies, and an uncertain future. Even when her finances were stable, she couldn't enjoy it. Her mind always whispered, "It's only a matter of time before something bad happens." Then one day, she decided to try something different. Instead of starting each day worrying about what she lacked, she began acknowledging what she already had. A roof over her head, a meal on her table, a job that provided for her. At first, it felt forced, almost like she was lying to herself. But she kept going. Each time anxiety crept in, she reminded herself, "What can I appreciate right now?" When she faced financial challenges, instead of saying, "This is another disaster," she told herself, "What can I learn from this?" And then, something incredible happened. The more she shifted her thoughts, the more her external world seemed to shift with her. New job opportunities appeared. Unexpected income flowed in. Doors she never noticed before started opening effortlessly. She felt as if life had been waiting for her to stop resisting and start receiving. So what changed? Her external world remained the same at first, but internally, she was no longer being controlled by fear. She stopped radiating desperation. She started embodying trust. And when you trust, you allow. You open doors that your fear once kept shut. Your mindset is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. If your thoughts are rooted in scarcity, no amount of external success will ever feel like enough. But if your thoughts are grounded in abundance, even in difficult times, you will find peace, clarity, and opportunities that others overlook. So how do you change your mindset? First, become aware of your thoughts. Most people don't realize how much negativity they feed themselves every day. They casually say things like, "I'm so unlucky," or "I'll never be good enough." But these thoughts aren't harmless, they are instructions you are giving to the universe. When you catch yourself thinking in scarcity, pause. Reframe it. Instead of saying, "I never have enough," ask, "What can I be grateful for right now?" Second, shift the way you see challenges. When you face a problem, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask, "What lesson is this teaching me?" Your mind is a powerful machine. You can train it to see opportunities instead of obstacles. Finally, practice stillness. Meditation is not just about relaxation, it is about reclaiming control over your mind. It teaches you to observe your thoughts rather than be controlled by them. You begin to realize that just because a negative thought appears, doesn't mean you have to believe it. You can choose your response instead of being ruled by old patterns. A peaceful mind is your greatest asset. It allows you to move through life with clarity, confidence, and trust. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It transforms struggles into stepping stones for growth. And most importantly, It frees you from the illusion that your happiness exists somewhere in the future waiting to be unlocked by an external achievement. Because the truth is, everything you need has always been within you. You don't have to wait for your external circumstances to change to feel abundant. You can start right now. And when you do, you will realize something extraordinary. The abundance you have been searching for was never outside of you. It has always been in your mindset. 3. Trust in divine timing. We live in a world that glorifies speed, instant gratification, overnight success, quick love. Everything around us reinforces the idea that if something doesn't happen immediately, it must not be meant for us. We see stories of people who seemingly achieve everything in a blink of an eye. And we start to believe that patience is just another word for delay, that waiting is a sign of failure. But life does not operate on our rushed timelines. Some of the most meaningful things, deep love, true mastery, inner peace, require time to unfold. The Buddha taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Yet, so many of us resist this truth. We want certainty, we want guarantees, and we want them now. Sophie was someone who wanted love so badly that she chased after it relentlessly. She jumped from one relationship to another, hoping that each new person would finally be the one. She clung to the idea that happiness was just one perfect relationship away. But no matter how much she tried, no matter how deeply she invested herself, every love story ended in disappointment. Then one day, exhausted and heartbroken, she made a radical decision. She stopped searching. Not because she had given up on love, but because she realized she had been looking in the wrong place. She had spent so much time chasing love outside of herself that she had neglected the most important relationship of all, the one with herself. So she turned inward. Instead of asking, "Where can I find love?" she asked, "How can I become love?" She focused on her own personal growth, on healing old wounds, on becoming the kind of person she wanted to attract. And something incredible happened without looking, without forcing, without grasping. She met someone who was exactly what she had been searching for all along. What changed? The universe didn't suddenly decide to grant her love. Love had always been available to her. But before, her desperation had blocked it from flowing naturally into her life. It wasn't until she surrendered, until she trusted, that what was meant for her could finally arrive. This is the paradox of life. The more you chase, the more things seem to slip away. But when you trust, when you allow, what is meant for you comes effortlessly. The river does not need to push to reach the ocean. It simply flows. And so must we. Patience is not passive. It is an act of deep trust. It is choosing to believe that things are unfolding exactly as they should, even when you cannot see the full picture yet. Most people confuse patience with waiting. They think it means sitting idly, hoping that life will magically change. But real patience is active. It is focusing on what you can control, your growth, your mindset, your energy, while trusting that everything else is being taken care of. If you plant a seed today, you do not dig it up tomorrow to see if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust that nature is doing its work beneath the surface. Life works in the same way. Some of the greatest things that will ever happen to you are already in motion, you just can't see them yet. But when you rush, when you try to force things to happen on your schedule, You disrupt the process. You pull at the seed before it has time to grow. You settle for something that isn't aligned with you because you fear that nothing better will come. You let impatience push you into choices that are not meant for you. Instead of focusing on what is missing, focus on who you are becoming. The more you align with your highest self, the more aligned opportunities and people will naturally gravitate toward you. Life is not withholding anything from you. It is simply waiting for you to be ready to receive. Trust that everything is happening at the right time. Trust that the detours, the delays, the moments of uncertainty are not mistakes, they are part of your path. Some things take longer because they are meant to shape you in ways that instant results never could. Some doors remain closed because the one that is truly meant for you has not yet appeared. And remember, what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. Not because you chased it, not because you forced it, but because it was always destined to find you. The only thing you need to do is trust. Holding on is exhausting. It drains you. It fills your mind with worry, your heart with tension. It keeps you stuck in the illusion that you can control what was never meant to be controlled. But the moment you release, the moment you surrender, something incredible happens. Space is created. Space for new opportunities, for unexpected miracles, for life to surprise you in ways you could have never planned. Letting go is not passive. It is an act of profound trust. It is choosing to believe that life is not against you, but always working for you, even when you cannot see it yet. It is understanding that what is truly meant for you will never require you to force it. That real love, real success, real joy, they do not come from clinging, but from allowing. Tonight, I challenge you, choose one thing you've been holding onto too tightly. A goal that is causing you more stress than inspiration. A person who no longer aligns with your growth. A fear that is keeping you small. And make a choice, release it. Just for tonight, let it go. Breathe. Trust. Watch what happens when you stop forcing and start allowing. Watch how light you feel when you realize that you were never meant to carry this weight. And remember, the more you relax, the more life gives you exactly what you need. Always. 6. Embody the energy of abundance. Most people live with a belief that something is missing. They chase after more money, more success, more validation, thinking that once they reach a certain point, they will finally feel whole. But no matter how much they achieve, no matter how much they accumulate, the feeling of not enough never truly disappears. There is always another goal, another level, another thing to acquire. But what if the key to abundance isn't found in getting more, but in seeing what is already present? The Buddha taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True abundance is not measured by how much you own, but by how little you need. It is not something you attain, it is something you embody. The moment you shift from "I don't have enough" to "I already have everything I need," your entire reality changes. James was someone who never felt like he had enough. No matter how much he earned, it never seemed sufficient. He looked around and saw others who had more money, more opportunities, more success. And he convinced himself that he needed to keep pushing, keep striving, keep accumulating. Until he reached some invisible finish line where he would finally feel at peace. Then, one day, during a visit to a Buddhist monastery, a monk gave him a challenge. For the next 7 days, before you think about what you need, first express gratitude for what you already have. At first, it felt unnatural. His mind was so used to scanning for what was missing that it resisted the idea of focusing on what was already there. But he did it anyway. Each morning, before reaching for his phone, before worrying about the day ahead, he took a moment to list 3 things he was grateful for. And something started to shift. Instead of obsessing over the money he hadn't made yet, he began appreciating the financial stability he did have. Instead of envying other people's success, he recognized his own progress. Instead of feeling frustrated about what was lacking, he noticed the simple joys that had always been there but had gone unnoticed. And then, something even more unexpected happened. Opportunities started flowing to him. People he had lost touch with reached out with new business ideas. Unexpected sources of income appeared. Life, in its own way, began responding to his new energy. Why? Because when you operate from a state of lack, you repel abundance. When you operate from a state of trust, you attract it. Most people don't realize that their desperation for more actually keeps them stuck. When you tell yourself, "I don't have enough," you reinforce that energy. You move from a place of scarcity, from a belief that you must fight for success, struggle for love, chase after happiness. But abundance doesn't come from grasping, it comes from allowing. It comes from shifting into the frequency of having, rather than wanting. So how do you embody abundance? First, practice gratitude. Each day, take a moment to acknowledge what is already good in your life, your health, your relationships, your skills, even the smallest joys. The simplest things, when fully appreciated, become sources of abundance. Second, let go of scarcity thinking. Stop believing that you need more to be happy. The belief that something is missing is what keeps you stuck. When you stop chasing what you think you lack and start appreciating what you already have, you begin to expand. You move from contraction to openness, from fear to trust. And finally, live as if you already have what you desire. If you want success, carry yourself with the confidence of someone who is already successful. If you want love, embody love in everything you do. If you want peace, act as though peace is already within you. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to the energy you put out into the world. Abundance is not something you wait for. It is something you become. And the moment you stop looking for it outside of yourself, you will realize it was within you all along. 7. Take aligned action and let go. One of the greatest misconceptions about manifestation is the belief that it's about sitting back, visualizing, and waiting for things to magically appear. People are often told, just think positively, and everything you want will come to you. But that's not how the universe works. You must take action. You must move in the direction of your desires. But once you do, you must also be willing to let go. The Buddha taught, do your best, then surrender the outcome. This wisdom holds the key to true success, not in controlling every detail, but in aligning with the natural flow of life. Grace learned this lesson in the hardest way possible. She was deeply passionate about growing her business, but in her desperation to succeed, she fell into the trap that so many people do. She tried to control everything. She worked 16-hour days, constantly checked her emails, obsessed over sales numbers, and micromanaged every small detail. She thought that if she let go even for a second, things would fall apart. But despite all her effort, nothing seemed to be moving forward. No matter how hard she pushed, success remained just out of reach. The more she tried to force things to happen, the more resistance she created. One day, exhausted and frustrated, she sought advice from a mentor. The mentor listened to her struggles and then said something that changed everything. "You're holding on too tightly. Take the right actions, then release the need to control every detail. Trust that what is meant for you will come in its own time." At first, Grace resisted. She had spent years believing that the only way to succeed was through relentless effort and control. But deep down, she knew her current approach wasn't working. So she made a decision. She let go. She still worked hard. She still showed up every day and did her best. But she stopped micromanaging. She stopped worrying about things beyond her control. She stopped obsessing over when results would come. Instead, she trusted that if she stayed aligned with her purpose, success would follow in its own time. And then, something incredible happened. Clients started showing up effortlessly. Revenue grew. The opportunities that once seemed so difficult to reach suddenly felt like they were flowing toward her. She no longer felt like she was forcing things. Everything unfolded naturally. Why? Because when you take aligned action without attachment to the outcome, you remove resistance. You create space for things to come to you in ways you could never have planned. This is the paradox of success. When you chase something too desperately, it eludes you. But when you do the work and then let go, life has a way of bringing things to you effortlessly. So how do you take aligned action and let go? First, focus on what you can control. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control how you show up each day. You can control your mindset, your attitude, your energy, and your effort. Do the work with intention, but don't let the results define you. Second, release the timeline. Most frustration comes from wanting things to happen on our schedule. We want success now. We want love now. We want answers now. But life doesn't work that way. Trust that things will arrive exactly when they are meant to, no sooner, no later. And finally, let go of the need to control every detail. Life has a way of surprising you with opportunities you never could have predicted. But if you're too fixated on one specific outcome, you might miss something even greater that is trying to find its way to you. Success does not come from force, it comes from alignment. It does not come from control, it comes from trust. When you take the right actions but release attachment to the outcome, you step into flow. And in that flow, everything that is meant for you arrives, not because you chased it, but because you were finally open to receiving it. So take the leap. Do the work. And then, let go. Because what is truly meant for you is already on its way. Life has a way of revealing its greatest gifts when we stop gripping so tightly, when we loosen our hold on how we think things should be, and instead allow them to unfold as they are meant to. We often believe that the more effort we put in, the faster we will get results. But true success, real happiness, and deep fulfillment don't come from forcing, they come from aligning. They come when we trust, when we show up fully, take inspired action, and then release the need to control the outcome. Think about a river. It does not struggle to reach the ocean. It does not fight the curves in its path or resist the rocks in its way. It simply flows. And yet, no matter how winding the journey, it always arrives exactly where it is meant to be. Life works in the same way. When you stop resisting, when you stop grasping, when you let go of the fear that things won't happen unless you control them, you allow things to unfold effortlessly. So tonight, I invite you to try something different. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, what am I holding onto too tightly? Maybe it's a dream that hasn't manifested yet, and you feel frustrated. Maybe it's a worry about the future, something you can't control. Maybe it's a relationship you've outgrown, but you're afraid of letting go. Whatever it is, decide just for tonight to release it. Let go of the weight you've been carrying. Give yourself permission to trust. And as you do, notice how much lighter you feel. Notice the peace that comes when you surrender. Life has always been ready to give you everything you need, you just have to create the space to receive it. Drop a comment below and share, what are you letting go of today? Your words may inspire someone else on their journey. And if this message resonated with you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. The more you relax, the more life flows in your favor. The more you trust, the more you attract exactly what is meant for you. Thank you for watching, for being here, for choosing to grow. Remember, you are always exactly where you need to be.